Okay, how about now? You can hear me now? Good, good. All right. Well, looks like my microphone's dead. Good thing I had a backup set of headphones. All right, so we got that worked out. I'm going to get this. We're going to get this. All right. So again, my name is Roto Recovery, and today we're trying a multicast across both YouTube and Twitter. So sorry for that. We have technical difficulties, and I will eventually get this worked out. The only way I can do this is to test it live, guys. Sorry. So again, the purpose of Monday Morning Chat. The purpose of Monday morning chat is to allow other people who are going through that struggle, or if you're in a porn addiction space and you're working in either a recovery plan or just trying to get sober, being able to ask and be able to talk about your problems and interact about the types of things that are relevant to porn addiction recovery. So I offer myself up. This is all part of my 12th step. I don't make any money in the things I do here. This is all about giving back to the addict who still suffers. So yeah, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can put them into the chat on YouTube, or you're welcome to come on into the space I have set aside on um, Twitter, and you can come on and talk to me directly. I currently have a question here. This person was must have been paying attention to my YouTube channel and asked, do you have to register as a sex offender for getting arrested for CP? And the that's a good, honest question. And I did. I had to register for. I had to register for 4 years. Yeah, it sucked. I got off the registration because finally I was able to get a judge that was willing to listen, because the first judge, he had to make a judgment based on the ruling of law, and the second judge would actually, he took into consideration all the evidence and what was actually there. Because for those that aren't familiar with my story, I my rock bottom was that I was into cam porn. That's where I ended up. Like, I was into all different types of porn, but I ended up in cam porn. And what had happened was that I kept on going out to file sharing sites because I got sick and tired. This is 6, 7 years ago. I got tired of looking at the limited volume of cam porn that was on the aggregator sites, because I couldn't find enough of it, if that makes sense. I was constantly searching for new content because I got sick and tired of studio content. And so I kept on going up for new content, and all the new content was coming out from cam services, and I wanted to consume the cam content, but I didn't want to pay for it. So I was getting as much downloaded stuff that other people had downloaded from cam sites onto file sharing sites, and that's what got me in trouble. Because there's so many teenage girls that were out there that were like producing content, and I knew I was putting myself into that danger, and I still kept doing it. And was just downloading the free stuff, and it's like the number one way you can get burned, because the legal authorities all have services now that scan for stuff like that, and they also get tips from third parties that say this person shared this file. And so I got one day got busted sharing or not sharing, I was downloading a file. And the thing about file sharing networks, and the reason I tell people the last thing you want to do is ever use a sharing network, is that you cannot see the content of the file you are downloading until it's downloaded. So you don't know what you're downloading. And the second it's done, you're now sharing. So from a legal standpoint, if there's anything illegal, you're not only distributing, you're not only downloading, but you're distributing. So it's two different offenses here in the United States. Let's see, here's a follow-up question. What jobs were you able to get as a registered sex offender? I had to start my own. Um, I had to start my own company, and so I started marketing myself out with my services. And I was not making as much money as I was when I was actually, employed regularly. However, that's, don't take my exclusively my side of it. I've worked with lots of sponsees who um, got themselves in trouble in one way or another. Some followed my path and got themselves legally in trouble, but there's ways. Like if you have the skill set, nothing can stop you, man. Nothing can stop you. You don't. You're not beholden to having to go to a corporation. One of the guys that I work with, he ended up making his own company. He's doing just fine right now. Like, it was in a much worse spot than I was, and was able to pull himself out of it. So if you have the skill set, it's possible to get around all that. And of course, there's like other companies out there that will hire you regardless of like what your crime is. But it's hard to find those jobs. It is. I've heard it's hard for sex offenders to get jobs because of liability issues. Like, will they rape employees and cuss? Yeah, that's entirely true. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it is 100% true. Like, you never want to be a registered SO because it puts so much of a burden on you. But I think the number one problem with being a registered SO is that they publicly publish your name. So I, including all other registered SOs in the United States, they put your name on onto a list, and they'll put what the nature of your crime was. And that's the part that sucked the worst for me, like when I was in recovery, was like having to deal with that shame of like, he was downloading like child pornography. And it's like, the video I downloaded was of a teenage girl who, if you actually looked at the video, you would not be able to tell that she wasn't an adult. And I didn't know. It's the part that I had to constantly communicate. And the judge, the first judge that I went through, he didn't care. It's like, by the letter of the law, this is what we've got to charge you with. But it took a while, and I finally got in front of a judge that heard all the evidence and didn't reverse the decision, but immediately took me off of the SO list, which was, God, was a godsend. Um, this guy was asking me if I follow YouTubers, like Common Sense Law. I don't follow a lot of the law sites. No, I don't. I don't follow a lot of the law sites. I did, however, have. I talk about this in my recovery story, that right before the day that I got arrested, somebody had. I was following a financial podcast of all things, and the financial podcaster was having to deal with a hurricane at the time, and so he didn't broadcast that weekend. Instead, he put on a lawyer, and I can't remember the lawyer's name, but he was talking about why you should never talk to the police. And because I was driving to work, I didn't have the opportunity to be able to turn off my podcast, so I just listened to it on the way to work, and I had no idea that every single thing that that lawyer said was exactly the thing I had to do the next day. It's like higher power was coaching me on the trials and tribulations I was about to do. And so, I hate to say it, I really hate to say this, but that experience was what needed to happen to me. It really was, because I if somebody had come up to me and said, "Hey, man, you're a porn addict," I would have been like, "Dude, screw you, get the hell out of my face!" Like, I wouldn't have listened. I wouldn't have listened, despite I had panic attacks, multiple panic attacks, like the prior month. I was falling apart at the seams. Like, I wasn't being able to manage the stress I had at work. I had gone to several doctor's offices trying to figure out like what was going on with me, because I couldn't sleep. The panic attacks were getting out of control. Like, I couldn't manage anything. And wouldn't you know it, that when everything stopped for me, when I lost my job, when I lost my career, when I lost my all of my public and civil duties that I was working on, when I lost all of that, panic attacks after that went away. I mean, initially after the arrest, I was freaked out. Like, I was having a hard time keeping it all together and was having suicidal thoughts. But